Hello everyone. So in this particular video, we are going to continue with the AWS S3 part. In previous video, we have understand what is AWS S3 and we have seen few properties and the use cases. In this video, we are going to do a practical and we are going to understand that how actually we can create a AWS S3 bucket, how actually we can upload a file, how we can enable a versioning in S3, how to access S3 bucket file. That practical we are going to see, and after that we will try to discuss few interview question which is generally asked from a AWS S3 perspective. So let us start with that. Let us first understand what is AWS S3 and let's recap that. AWS S3 is a simple storage service. We can store unlimited amount of data in AWS S3 and we can retrieve from anywhere. So that is a AWS S3. So let's start with the practical part. Let us see how actually we can create a bucket. So first we have to understand what is this bucket. Bucket is nothing but it is kind of a container. So first we have to create a container and we can upload any files there and we can upload any files there. So container is nothing but a bucket and files whatever we are saying, right, that is nothing but a your object. So in a AWS S3 we call all the files and the folders as a object, and whatever the bucket, it is nothing but a container. Okay, I hope you got it. So let's start with the practical part. So once you will open a AWS account, right, I hope you have already created AWS account. So 1 year free actually we get and we can practice all our AWS S3 service. So I hope you have already created an account. If you haven't created account, please do create account and do practical along with me. Okay, so once you will open a AWS account, this will look like this, and you can see the search bar. In the search bar, what we have to search, we have to search S3 because we are going to do a practical for the S3, right? So that's why we are writing the services. Now you can see S3 is coming. Click on that. First time when you will click, you will see this particular screen. Okay, it is giving a what is Amazon S3, store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. You can read this and the benefits and the feature and the use case also is discussed here. What we are going to do, we are going to create a bucket. So click on the create bucket. We are going to create a bucket that is nothing but a container. Now if you will see, once you created a bucket, you can see one option is coming global. So you always have to remember AWS S3 is a global service. Why we call it as a global service? You can upload any file in AWS S3 and you can access from anywhere. That's why we call it as a AWS S3 is a global service. Now, when we are saying AWS S3 is global service, then why it is telling me to select the AWS region? And this is one of the interview question also. S3 is a global service, but why we require a region selection? Okay, so answer is AWS S3 is a global service, but why we need a region selection? To for the low latency and for the faster operation. So generally what AWS S3 does is like it try to store your data in a near data center and it try to replicate in multiple places. So if you want a faster performance and if you want low latency, that's why we need a AWS region. So wherever you will be, based on your region, try to select the AWS region for the low latency and for the faster operation. So let's select the AWS region. I'll go with the US East, but you can select based on your region. And after that, we have to give the bucket name and make sure the bucket name must be unique. Okay, so generally in an organization, what we use, we try to give, suppose you have to do some kind of the staging bucket you have to create. So write like staging, practical, and the project name. Okay, something like that, unique name we have to give. So this is the unique name we have to give in the bucket name. Now you can see the block public access setting for this bucket. So you can see by default it is block all the public access. It is enabled, but if you will disable it, anyone can access your buckets. So by default, and it is giving a warning also. So make sure it is a disable only. We try to give a specific user level access to the S3 buckets, so that actually we will see later. But as of now, we are blocking all the public access. Bucket versioning, as of now we have disabled the bucket versioning, but this also we will discuss how actually we can enable that. Tags, default encryption, by default it is a server side encryption it is providing. Okay, and now you can click on the create bucket. Once you will click on the create bucket, you can see this particular bucket or container which we call, it's got created. You can see AWS region, on which particular region we have created this bucket, and access it is giving information and the creation date. Now let's see how actually we can upload a file. So click on this, and we can upload any file. Click here, click on the add files and just select the file. Let me upload this index.html. This open, click on the upload. You can see upload is successful. Close it. You can see index.html.txt, this file got uploaded. Now suppose if you want to do some operation, suppose if you want to delete this, select here, click on the action and you will get to see all the options. Suppose if you want to copy, if you want to move, if you want to download, all the thing actually you can do here. And also you can see delete option is also coming, so you can delete that also. And also you can see the copy URL. So if I will click on this copy URL and if I will paste here, so this is the particular URL we have. If I will click here, it will show the access denied because the public access we have disabled it. Let's discuss about the versioning. So versioning is nothing but a copy of your file. Suppose you have one code. After some time you are adding a new features, but after some time you want your previous version of that particular file. So generally for that we use a GitHub and all, right? So AWS S3 also provide a versioning of our file, means it try to take a backup of the previous file also, but for that we should enable the versioning. So let's see how actually this versioning works. So I'll go to the properties. If you can see versioning, while creating we have disabled it. If you want to enable, click on the edit, click on the enable and the save changes. Once you will enable the versioning, now if I'll try to upload a file, so what I will do, I'll go to my file, the recent file, it was the welcome to my website. Now what I will write, I will write my name. I will just do something dash dash dash. I will try to save it. So in my particular desktop it got saved. But now I will again try to upload this particular files. I will click on the add files, click on the index.html, click on the upload. So if you will not enable the versioning, it will replace your file. But we have enabled the versioning, right? So I go to the bucket, particular bucket, you can see only one file. But you can see we are seeing one option, show versions. Enable this, you can see the two version. This was the previous file and this is the current file what we have. If I'll show you, click here, click on the download. Now you can see this was the previous file, welcome to my website. Whatever the monies I have added, that is not there. So it is trying to maintain all the backup files also. So if you want to get the previous version of your file, you can get from here. So that is how the versioning works. Now let us see how actually we can publicly access our bucket and the object. So I'll click on this bucket. I'll go to the permission. Once you will come to the permission, you can see we have one option, block public access. So by default it is disabled, so we have to click on the edit. We have to enable, means we are giving all the public access. Click on the save changes, click on the confirm, and after that we have to define a bucket policy. Policy is nothing but, suppose if you want to give a specific policy to the user, suppose you want to give a access only for the specific bucket, so all the kind of the policy you can define here. Click on the edit, There are two example. Either you can take an example, this policy example where all the policy already written, and you can take an example of that. And the second and best way is like click on the policy generator. So it will open a new window. And what actually we are going to do, we are going to create one policy for the S3 bucket policy. Allow principal, all the principal, AWS service action. What actually action we want to do? We want to give them a get object access so that they can access our file. Search for the get object. You can see get object is there. After that ARN. So ARN will be mentioned here. Click here, copy your ARN. After that slash the star and click on the add statement, generate a policy. You can see this is the policy which got generated. Copy this, go to your bucket policy, copy this, click on the save changes. You can see policy is not defined. Now what we will do, we'll go to our bucket, go to this bucket, click on this particular file. You can see one object URL is there. Click on this. You can see you are able to access your file, whatever the file. So like this actually you can publicly access, but generally we don't give in a real-time public access. We try to give a specific access to the user to download, to read, to write a file. But this is how actually I have given you idea about how actually you can create a bucket, how actually you can upload a file, how actually you can publicly access the file, and how actually we can enable the versioning. Now let us discuss few interview point. S3 is a global service, but why do we require a region selection? The answer is it is a global service, but why we give a region? For faster access and for performance and for a low latency. So that is the answer. Can S3 can upload unlimited amount of data? So can we upload a 10 TB data at a one time? So answer is no. We can upload one time only 5 TB data. So you have to remember we can upload at one time only 5 TB data, means one file shouldn't be more than 5 TB. You can upload a 10 TB data, but the file should be in a division like 2 to 3 file. Then you can upload that, but only one file which is a 10 TB, that is not possible. It only allow one file should be a 5 terabyte, and that is huge also, right? But we can upload unlimited amount of data, but one file shouldn't be a more than the 5 terabyte. That third question is like how many bucket we can create in one AWS account. So answer is 100, but that actually we can extend. For that we have to raise a ticket with the AWS. So this is the question. I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching.